If you weren't already aware, Apex Legends right now is running an event where they introduce new and interesting game modes. Every game mode lasts for a couple of days and then they move on to the next one. At the moment, yesterday and today, the game mode over the weekend has been third person mode. Now, Apex Legends was not designed as a third person shooter. That's obvious. You play the game, it works really great as a first person game. But I have always wondered what this would be like to play in third person. And of course, when you've got competitors like Fortnite, which are also a battle royale title, free to play and standalone, you do wonder if Apex could draw in some of that crowd by switching to a third person camera. So I've been playing this over the last day or so. I've put quite a few hours in and I wanted to show you guys some gameplay, give some impressions and also a bit of feedback about how I think this could turn out and how it could be better. So when I first saw the trailer announcement last week for this, I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. Apex are actually going to do a third person mode. There has been a third person Easter egg in the game before, but that's all it was and it was just in the practice range. This is fully fledged third person. You drop into the game with a squad of 2 others and have at it just as you would in the normal first person game mode. So like I said, I was like, yeah, damn, I really want to give this a go. Yesterday, played my first round with a couple of friends and I did not like it one bit. That was my first impression. The game felt incredibly slow and I don't think they've actually changed the speed of the game at all. It's just because of the third person FOV, your character feels like it's running really slow at times. It's not, it's just how it feels and it can take a bit of getting used to. Also, it doesn't look like Apex have made any changes whatsoever to the gunplay or the animations here, and with the game being developed for first person, I think third person mode really needs some more attention there before the gunplay starts to feel natural. You may notice the crosshairs too. Sometimes you'll ADS and there's still a big gap in the middle, but if you pick up a different scope, let's say a 2 or a 3 times, it zooms in a bit more. But ideally you want to get a sniper scope or a digi-threat, because in this game mode, if you've got a sniper rifle with a sniper scope, you will get the full normal sniper scope when you zoom in. And of course, if you then keep yourself at range, you can chip away at enemies to your heart's content and be incredibly accurate while doing so. And as for the digi-threat, I didn't realise this to begin with, but if you've got something like a Peacekeeper or an R99, which are both incredibly strong in this game mode, with a digi-threat, aim down the sight and you actually get the first person view there. I suppose that kind of makes sense, because what would be the point of the thermal aspect of the digi-threat if you couldn't ever see people through smoke with it highlighted in red? So those scopes are really powerful, but most other things can be really awkward to use at times, especially when you first start playing. But the more I played this, the more I adjusted and I started to enjoy it. I did write it off initially after a few games. I was just like, this is terrible. It feels like all Respawn have done here is put a third person camera in, and realistically I think that's what's happened. As far as I know, you can't adjust the side which the camera's on, you can't adjust the field of view to make it a bit bigger, none of the player animations have changed, so sometimes you're looking at your character from behind and you think, man, that animation doesn't look as good as I thought it did when I'm shooting other people. It seems to speed up and slow down at times too. But I think once you overlook that and you start playing it more, it can be quite satisfying, but it's definitely a different style of game. Naturally, when it comes to competitive games that have a third-person camera, people are inclined to camp more and put their body in cover while seeing around corners. It's corner camping, it's a classic staple of third-person games. It's been around for years and years. And now this is in Apex, the pace of the game has definitely slowed down in my opinion, on PC at least. I haven't tried this on console, I've just been playing on PC, and you'll often get people camping corners, waiting for you in complete silence and stepping out as you're running towards them, rinsing down your shield and your armor, and you'll go down quite easily. And of course you are inclined to do that too. You've got that third person advantage as well. Some people hate this style of gameplay, some people love it, and it brings me back to the old debate between PUBG third person and first person. When PUBG came out, it was third person only and they added in first person mode. And since then, really that's all I've played, because you don't get those situations where you can be completely hidden in cover yet gathering a load of intel. When you're playing first person Apex, yes, of course you can hide too and wait to ambush people, but you're just reliant on your sound and your knowledge of the game. Whereas with the third-person camera, you can do stuff like hiding behind a wall, see exactly where an opponent is, strafe out and have your crosshair at exactly the right height and start firing at them before you've even begun to strafe out. So playing defensively in third person does give you a massive advantage. Another problem with the way that they've done the camera, I think, is that it gets really messy in close range gunfights, especially in buildings. I think it needs a bit more care and attention there. Some of the big characters too, like Gibraltar and Caustic, they have a massive problem because they're that thick, they're that wide. They actually cover loot and they cover things that you're trying to do sometimes. And I found looting in general in third person was quite difficult to how it is in first person. I don't have a problem with it at all there, but in third person I often found myself having to do really small micro adjustments to get my crosshair lined up on the thing I wanted to pick up. Also pinging items in general. If you wanted to tell your teammate that there's an extended light mag by pinging it, you've got to be really close to it and get your third person camera in the right spot before it will ping it, instead of just pinging the ground and telling them, hey, we should go here. Also, I didn't realize how much and how often your character does these idle animations. As soon as you stop walking, Octane in particular just starts doing all these idle animations almost straight away. And I'm thinking, is that what I look like when I stand still in this game? I've got to stop standing still. So there are some problems with this, and I do wonder if Apex will look at the player numbers from this limited time mode, look at the feedback, and maybe include it as a permanent or a more regular thing that's in the game. And I've been looking at Reddit and social media, reading YouTube comments on other people's videos, and it feels like there's a big split on this game mode. Some people just have tried it and they wrote it off. They're like, nah, it's rubbish, I don't like it, it doesn't work. But I feel like there's another camp that actually really enjoy third person mode in Apex. And I think maybe if Apex can afford to, if they put resources into this, into developing the third person game mode a bit more, maybe working on those crosshairs a bit, some of the animations for your character, the looting system, and also tweaking the camera a bit to make it feel a bit more comfortable and react better in those situations where you are indoors and it's bouncing around a lot. Maybe even adjusting the gunplay and the animations to make them feel a bit more satisfying and natural when you've got that third person camera on. But there is definitely a satisfaction in being able to see your character. Of course, Apex has a ton of awesome cosmetic skins for your character, for your guns, and when you can see them on your back in all their glory, as well as that cool skin you've got, and then you go to town on a squad and destroy them, it feels good. It's a different type of game and playstyle for sure, and there's definitely something to this. I do wonder though if this is a test for something more permanent, or is it just Respawn having a bit of fun? We'll see. I think if they look at the player numbers, maybe there'll be a big demand for this as a permanent addition. We will have to wait and see. For me personally, in its current state, I feel like I've experienced it now and I don't really have a desire to play it again rather than first person mode until Respawn, hypothetically, if they touch this up in the future, update it and really separate it a little bit from the main game to make it more of a polished experience. Then I'll definitely come back and play it some more. And also, touching on what we talked about earlier, because of the nature of battle royale games and the fact that you're pushed around all over the map in a circle that you can't control, BRs are already quite campy and slow paced at times because of the permadeath element. No one wants to die, everyone wants to win, and that's exacerbated even more when you introduce a third person camera. And I just don't enjoy BRs as much when they're in third person, and it is mainly because you've got that random element that forces you to move, plus corner camping without putting yourself in any real danger. And I think that Apex, it was designed as a first person shooter. It's a great mix of old and new in terms of the gunplay and the movement, and I just really like how it is already. I don't think it needs a third person mode, but I'd definitely be up for trying it again if and when Respawn update this or attempt it down the line. For now, I'm going to stick to first person though. But you know what, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. If you've tried this third person mode, what do you think? Like it, love it? Maybe if you didn't like it at first, give it a few more games and see what you think then. Let's have a conversation in the comments below anyway. Does Apex need this, or is it just a bit of a gimmick? With that said, I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you did, do leave a like, that really helps me out. Thank you so much. If you didn't like it, dislike it, that's not a problem at all. Subscribe for more, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.